Alrighty, yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitz TV here, aka G133. Want to welcome you guys back here to another episode of the Legit Shoot podcast. Here with your Monday Night Raw review and results for December 21st, 2020. Hopefully, you guys are staying safe and healthy. Hopefully, you guys are doing all right on this Monday, as we are about to review another horrific edition of Monday Night Raw. First off, before we talk about how bad Monday Night Raw was, because of course, you guys know, you guys knew, I don't even have to say it. It's an expectation every single week, But before we get negative like we have to, I will say this. I want to wish you guys a happy and Merry Christmas, right? I do have a couple other videos planned for this week, but this will probably be our only live show of the week. So if I don't get to wish you guys a Merry Christmas later this week, I just want to say Merry Christmas, right? Uh, but yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. But hopefully you guys spend some time with your family and friends, and just hopefully just have some good vibes as we hopefully try to forget how bad this year was and hope for a better 2021. But thank you guys for joining me on the podcast, right? For those of you guys, if you guys didn't check out my WWE TLC 2020 review live on the channel, as always, make sure to check that out when you guys have time. It was a damn good review. It was a pretty good pay-per-view, actually. Outside of a couple things, it was a decent pay-per-view. You could say that actually about most of WWE's pay-per-views in 2020. If you were to go through, as bad as WWE Creative has been, especially for Monday Night Raw, if you were to go through all the pay-per-views that WWE did on the main roster, right, most of them, I'm willing to bet most of them were pretty decent. And that's just me thinking off the top of my head. But sadly, we can't say the same thing about Monday Night Raw. We can't, right? Monday Night Raw was absolutely atrocious tonight. It was terrible. It's that simple. You would think that after, and this is going to be our opening shoot tonight. Our opening shoot is going to be on Vince McMahon, right? If you think about it, last week Monday Night Raw got the worst rating in the history of the show, a 1.5. 1.5, and I've been saying this for weeks, right? If they don't change what the hell they're doing, the ratings are going to continue to drop. They are now at a 1.5. SmackDown is at least doing decent, right? They're pulling over a 2, and SmackDown is actually not bad most weeks. But Raw continues to be worse and worse and worse, and I don't understand how they continue to do it. They continue to outdo themselves every single week, and I really struggle to figure out how they do it. I really do. It just mind boggles me. It mind boggles me. But we had Raw tonight, and the show was garbage. And you would think after getting a 1.5 rating, the worst rating in the history of the show, you would think Vince would finally figure out that changes need to be made, right? We heard all these reports from all these different sources talking about how big changes were going to be coming to Monday Night Raw. And, how WWE was taking the ratings seriously. And how USA Network, right? The network that premieres Monday Night Raw every single week, they were furious over the 1.5 rating. For most of the time, USA Network is quiet. They don't say much about the ratings. No matter if it was around the 2 or, 1, but throughout the last months, right? At first, WWE tried to blame it on the pandemic. They tried to blame it on the pandemic. But the thing about it is, people are at home. Even if you're not having people in arenas, right? Having 13,000 people in an arena for Monday Night Raw. Still, people are at home. So that means more eyes should be watching the product. Since people were, at home in quarantine over, the first part of the pandemic. But the ratings continued to went down and down and down and down. Went from a 2 to a 1.9 to a 1.85, down to a 1.8, then a 1.7. Last couple months has been hovering around that 1.6 mark until last week it got a 1.52. Easily the worst in the history of Monday Night Raw. AEW had a better uh, 18 to 49 demo rating across all 3 hours of Monday Night Raw. Do you know how horrific that is? Really, if Monday Night Raw continues, where they're going, by the end of next year, AEW may have more viewers than Monday Night Raw. And then you know how bad that's going to be? It's terrible and it's awful. And Vince McMahon's saying, oh, they're taking this seriously. And then I read a report earlier today that Vince and Bruce got the message of what needs to be done to change the show. We got none of that tonight. The show was just as bad as it has been the last all year. I was going to say the last month, but all year. Doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter if they do a draft. It doesn't matter if they do a shakeup. It doesn't matter if they, bring back legends. Nothing they do changes the product. And you know what's worse? WWE is now, because you know what WWE is, right? Vince thinks by bringing back a part-timer or bringing back a Hall of Famer, that's what's going to be the thing that, brings the ratings back up a little bit. You know what they announced tonight? They announced a WWE Legends Night for 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw. So 2 weeks from today, I believe that will be the first Monday Night Raw that will be the first Monday Night Raw of 2021. They are doing a Legends Night. So they've already announced, like, guys like Ric Flair, guys like Mick Foley, Tori Wilson, all these other legends. I'm willing to bet, and you can quote me on it. Since the Legends Night is a couple weeks away, they'll convince somebody big to headline the event. It may be Stone Cold Steve Austin. It may be Goldberg. Somebody of that nature. It's not. I don't think it's gonna be the Undertaker or The Rock. But I could definitely see either Stone Cold Steve Austin, my personal favorite of all time, or somebody like Goldberg, some big name to headline the event. Because WWE believes by having a Legends Night, that's gonna bring the ratings up. How many times do we see this shit? Right? No matter if it's a Raw reunion or they're celebrating a Raw anniversary like Raw 2000, right? Or the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. It doesn't matter. Bringing back legends and part-timers is not the answer. Enough. USA Network even knows. They're tired of WWE with their stupid, romantic, and kid-friendly content. They want dark stories, stuff that's going to make people invested because they're going to be like, oh shit, damn, they want to be on the edge of their seats, watching. They want dark shit. Enough of this crap. Every time the ratings go down, or every time WWE Monday Night Raw is in a box, they decide to go down this direction, thinking that this is going to be the answer. It's not. The answer to the problems of Monday Night Raw is easily get rid of Vince. Take him out of creative. Because it doesn't matter if you fire Bruce Pritchard. It doesn't matter how many yes men you fire. As long as Vince McMahon is in charge of the creative of Monday Night Raw, the show will be garbage. Because he is out of touch in 2020. It's that simple. You have all these reports of Vince McMahon getting the message and ready to make changes, right? And you saw some of that with Randy Orton freaking killing The Fiend. Randy Orton killed The Fiend. And even though that was great, I'm not going to lie, I enjoyed that. Still, you think they would do, some good shit on Monday Night Raw to follow that up. And we'll talk about the good Alexa Bliss segment with Randy Orton. We'll talk about that. Because that was probably the only positive on this show. But you think they would follow that up, with a Monday Night Raw that would keep you on your edge of the edge of your seats to, keep up the momentum from what happened at TLC last week. But instead, they don't do that. They go back with their same stupid old shit. They announced a holiday street fight like they do every single year, but it didn't even feel like a street fight. They didn't even use the weapons that are on the outside of the ring to the last 5 minutes of the match. This is the kind of shit we're talking about with Monday Night Raw. And you know what's worse? And this will directly transition us into the Monday Night Raw review, right? WWE thinks, and I said this on the TLC podcast, right? WWE thinks Charlotte Flair is one of the answers to the problems with Monday Night Raw. We know how bad the Raw Women's Division is. And I had a very extensive rant on Charlotte on the TLC review. If you guys missed it, go check that out. Because I'm not going to repeat myself here. Excuse me. But Charlotte Flair open up Monday Night Raw. And I knew that's what they were going to do. This company is so fucking predictable. I predicted last week that Charlotte would come back and team with Asuka, and they would win the tag team titles, right? Because the first thing they did with Charlotte Flair coming out tonight, right? You know, Todd Phillips is talking about, oh yeah, Charlotte Flair did the Thunderdome for the first time, and now she's a 13-time women's champion. 13-time women's champion in less than 6 years. In less than 6 fucking years. She might have Ric Flair's record, right? The record for the most title reigns. She might have that record that Rick holds with John Cena. She might have that broken by the end of the year. Because we know the way WWE does it, right? If you hold the Raw or SmackDown Women's title, you know, it doesn't, that's not the only thing that counts. What counts is all the women's titles you've held together. So, technically, right, I believe Sasha, that makes Sasha like a, I believe Sasha's like a 9-time women's champion. You know, because Sasha's held the SmackDown Women's Championship once, Raw Women's Championship 5 times, which is 6. She's held the tag team titles twice, which is 8, and the NXT title. Right? Charlotte is now a 13-time women's champion. She's a 5-time Raw Women's champion, a 4-time SmackDown Women's champion, 2-time NXT champion, Divas champion, and now tag team champion. It's ridiculous what they would do. Really, Charlotte's back for one night, and they go back to sucking her off. Because Vince thinks Charlotte Flair is the answer. When she's not. She does not move the needle like a Sasha Banks or a Bayley. She doesn't move the needle. But nobody understands it. Nobody fucking gets it. I sit here and I know what I'm talking about. Vince doesn't. Vince really thinks Charlotte is the answer. And I knew they were going to do it. I knew they were going to do it tonight. They already announced Charlotte and Asuka to go over to SmackDown this Friday. And I know they're pre-taping SmackDown because they're pre-taping SmackDown this week because they're giving, you know, Christmas off for the SmackDown Superstars, which I have no problem with. I think that's a really good thing. But they're pre-taping SmackDown, and we know that Charlotte is going to be defending the title of Asuka. I was joking around on Twitter. What if they had Sasha and Bayley reunite for one night for, you know, this big match? I don't know. They're probably not going to do that, but we don't know. I honestly believe the Riot Squad should be the ones that are built up to take the title from them. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But it's already, the Charlotte Flair agenda is already back. I completely forgot that, you know, with the Women's Tag Team Championships, you can go on any brand. Sasha and Bayley did it great over the summer. But Nia and Shayna Baszler didn't go to another brand to defend those titles once. Except for when they went to SmackDown to face Sasha and Bayley, the SmackDown after Payback. That was, of course, the night that Bayley betrayed Sasha, and they started the Bayley and Sasha feud, which was great. But the Charlotte Flair agenda is back. And what do you think? You think you're going to get the same results, right? The same results with Charlotte and Asuka on multiple brands like you did with Sasha and Bayley? No! Because no one cares about Charlotte and Asuka as a tag team. And the thing about it is, just like I said on the TLC review last night, they are already teasing Charlotte Flair taking the title from Asuka. I said it last night. If there's anybody that's going to take the title from Asuka, it's going to be Charlotte. They're already teasing it. They teased it tonight in the opening segment. And once again, they're putting more care. Asuka's focus is more on defending the tag team titles than building up the Raw Women's Championship, which she's been defending for the most part since May. And her title reign has been absolutely forgettable. It's been boring. It's been stairless. It's had no direction. No direction. And it's absolute garbage. These are the answers, right? Doing this kind of shit is what you think is going to fix Monday Night Raw, right? Yeah. Keep seeing it. When the rating is below a 1.52, we'll see. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm going to predict it right now. I'm going to say a 1.508. So that's barely a 1.51. I don't think it's going to get to a 1.4 yet. But the way they're going, they'll be at a 1.4 before the middle of January. Absolute garbage. That's what we're seeing right now. Garbage. Fucking hell. What up, JD? Welcome. I forgot to say what up to the chat, bro. Hope you guys are doing well, because I'm just going off at the moment. But anyway, let's get into this garbage. So Raw opened with Charlotte coming out to give her first promo, right? And she said all a friend has to do is ask for help, and that's what Asuka did. So Asuka and Charlotte are friends now, right? I'm supposed to forget every time Charlotte took a women's championship away from Asuka. Just like Charlotte's gonna take the Raw Women's Championship away from Asuka again. She did it with the SmackDown Women's title multiple times, and she'll do it again with this title. We all know it's coming. And supposedly Asuka and Charlotte are friends. So what are they gonna do with Lana when she comes back? Right? When Lana comes back from injury, what you think Lana's not gonna have a problem that Asuka was just so easily able to turn around and move on to Charlotte, who's now supposedly her best friend, when Asuka was teaming with Lana for the last month? As bad as it was? Like, this is the kind of shit I think about. The logic gaps. Because Asuka's is easily able to go from tag team partner to tag team partner. Right? She teamed up with Kairi Sane for the tag team titles earlier in the year when they were facing Sasha and Bayley. And actually, no, they held the tag team titles earlier in the year. This is like this. So what? Isn't this Asuka's like second or third reign with the tag titles? My goodness. Hate this nonsense, bro. So then Asuka comes out. Asuka brags about being a champion, right? And Charlotte, right before Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler came out, it looked like Charlotte was about to ask for a Raw Women's Championship shot. I told you guys it's coming. I predicted this last night on the TLC review. It took them one night for Charlotte to return. And they've already teased it. They're telling you that Charlotte's going to take that title from Asuka. I give it till the end of January. Maybe on the Royal Rumble itself. I give it till the end of January. Asuka's dropping that title to Charlotte. I guarantee you. And it's disgusting. Because even though Asuka's title reign has been terrible, Charlotte's spent the last 6 months gone. And the fact is, she comes right back. And they're about to give her the Raw Women's Championship. This company is so predictable. But this is what they think is going to move the needle. This is what they think is going to bring the ratings back up to where they need to be. Yeah, good luck with that. Fucking hell, man. I love being right, but it's frustrating being right. Oh my gosh. But anyway, back to what we were saying. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out, right? Nia Jax and Baszler came out first. They were just talking about they were just trash talking, right? Talking about how they would get the tag team titles back. So Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out. They said that they wanted a women's tag team title shot as well. But Charlotte suggested that the two teams face off against each other while she and Asuka watch from ringside. So I guess now Charlotte has booking power on Monday Night Raw, right? Because right after Charlotte suggests the match, a referee comes out. Nice. Fucking hell, bro. Fucking hell. Anyway, so we got the match, right? Mandy Rose actually looked decent in here. The match wasn't that good because Nia Jax and Dana Brooke are pretty garbage. But Mandy Rose did show some potential. I've always said that Mandy Rose is underrated. But oh my gosh, so we got a commercial break, right? So this went on way too long. So anyway, we come back from break and basically the heels were working over Dana Brooke and her leg, right? Brooke then tagged in the Mandy Rose. Mandy made a comeback. Brooke tagged herself back in, hit a round-off splash for a 2 count. Kick out. We got a kick out from Baszler. Then the match ended when Baszler got the submission victory over Brooke with the Karafuda clutch. And that was that. So clearly it looks like we're going to get a rematch eventually, right? This is going to happen on Monday Night Raw in the next couple weeks because Uh, we have 6 weeks toward the Rumble. We're not seeing the tag team titles defended at the Rumble. They're clearly going to do a rematch between these two teams before that. Not that I care, but that's probably what we're going to get, right? We know that Shawn, like I said, Shawn and Asuka will be on Monday Night Raw, or not Monday Night Raw. They'll be on SmackDown this week. You know, I'm going to keep saying what I've been saying for months. The Riot Squad should be the ones that take the tag team championships from Asuka and Charlotte. It's been, I don't know why they haven't won the tag team titles. If they did that on Friday, I would love it, but I don't think Shawn and Asuka are going to lose. So I would build up the Riot Squad to take those titles from Charlotte and Asuka. Asuka doesn't need it. Charlotte, who gives a shit, right? Like, it's common sense. Common sense. But, we'll see where this goes, but fucking hell, bro. Fucking hell. I will say, this. You know, I might as well talk about this now. Later on in the evening, we did see Charlotte and Asuka back in action. So we saw Asuka and Charlotte. They faced off against Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. Before the match, Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans were talking about what they were going to do to Charlotte and Asuka, right? And Peyton Royce told Charlotte Caruso how she was the one that got this match booked. So anyway, right? The match wasn't good either, right? Both tag team titles, there was nothing, or both tag team matches for the women's division tonight. Neither one was special. Didn't really care. Excuse me. So we came back from commercial. Asuka was being beat down in the corner by Peyton Royce and Evans, right? They kept tagging themselves in and arguing with one another, but they were able to keep Asuka's corner. Uh, Asuka was finally able to tag Charlotte in after hitting Peyton Royce with a suplex. Charlotte got the tag, did her little, babyface comeback, right? And then she made Peyton Royce tap out with the figure 8. No surprise there. No surprise there. But like I said, we know where this is going. They're clearly setting up Asuka and Charlotte to face off for the Raw Women's Championship. And like I said, I would not be surprised if that's what we get at the Royal Rumble this year, right? And I hate this shit. I really do hate this shit. It's so bad, so bad, and it's so obvious where they're going, man. I hate this. You already tell Charlotte got an entrance before the commercial break, and then when we come back, Asuka got a jobber entrance. So here you have the Raw Women's Champion, right? This person that you're advertising as the double champion, and she doesn't even get an entrance. She doesn't even get an entrance. So for those of you who don't want to believe that the Charlotte Flair agenda is back, open your fucking eyes. Open your fucking eyes. And I know I want to ask the chat this. You guys notice something? How I'm more angry tonight now that Charlotte's back? I'm not. I say this all the time. I'm not saying Charlotte doesn't have a place in the women's division. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is the way she's booked, especially over everybody else in the division, is absolutely ridiculous. All they do is pad her stats for everything. It's straight garbage at the end of the day. It's garbage. And, if you're trying to defend it, you're really just part of the problem. You just have a stupid, casual mind. And Kevin, yeah, I ranted about that at the beginning of the show. The legends are coming to Raw to help the ratings. Who cares? It's not the answer. And I'm willing to bet it won't even make much of a difference to the rating unless they get like a Stone Cold Steve Austin or something like that. The legends they announced, right? The legends they announced for that Monday Night Raw in a couple weeks, they're not going to be, moving the needle. The only way that needle moves a little bit is if they get someone big, like a Stone Cold Steve Austin, one of the biggest draws in the history of the company. Anyway, enough of me ranting about Charlotte. Let's get back to the rest of the card. So we had Angel Garza versus Drew Gulak. So before the match, right, we had Angel Garza, who he got a haircut, right, looking clean with the cut. He gave a quick interview backstage. He was talking to I forget I don't know the name of the Caucasian. I don't know what's the name of that Caucasian backstage interview, but I guess he's going back to giving roses. Remember, he spent most of the early part of this year, giving roses to Charlie Caruso, who, I love Charlie Caruso. She is a beauty, beautiful woman, right? But that's what he was doing earlier this year, and now he's going back to that with this ring announcer now. I'm just like, wow, really? This is what you got for Angel Garza? The guy has potential to be an actual star in your mid card division, but instead you're just having with this stupid gimmick. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Anyway, we got the match. The match wasn't even that bad. I would actually say that the match was probably better than both women's matches tonight. The only problem I had with the match is the match was short. We know how good Drew Gulak is. We know Garza's talented. Go look at their NXT matches, right? But Garza won with a super kick and then hit the wing clipper for the 1, 2, 3. So that's that. We'll see if they actually do something with Garza this time because the guy's talented, or if they're just gonna have him do this stupid rolls shit again. It didn't do anything the early part of the year with Charlie Caruso. I don't expect it to do anything now, and that's me being honest, right? Next up, we had AJ Styles. AJ Styles was uh, interviewed backstage by Charlie Caruso, and Charlie asked AJ what was his thoughts on Mrs. Cashin during his title match last night. Styles called Miz the biggest idiot in the history of the WWE and incompetent, which it's hard to deny against. Miz was an idiot last night, and now he's put on a rare list of WWE superstars who have not been able to successfully cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Like a John Cena, like a Damian Sandow. Now, I know I'm forgetting I think I'm forgetting one more. But now Miz is on there. And what's more stupid is I'm glad that the Miz shit is over and done with because I didn't give a crap about that at all. But the funny thing is, the Miz won Money in the Bank before, and he's cashed in before. So the fact that he was able to cash in the second time after knowing what you have to do to actually win the title in that situation is garbage. It's garbage. And now that I think about it, how dumb was it for the Miz to cash in during a TLC match, making that match into a triple threat? This is not your normal singles triple threat, right? Where there's pinfall or submission. You have to climb the ladder to retrieve the championship. So you have multiple people in the ring at the same time trying to grab the title. How dumb did they make the Miz look at this? I'm glad that this situation is over with and that we can move on. And hopefully in May, we can finally have a rightful Money in the Bank for both the men and the women. Because this year, this thing was shit. It was legit shit. So, on Miz TV, right, Miz told Styles he had to take advantage of the opportunity on Sunday, but Styles told him to shut up. AJ called Miz selfish and incompetent. He even claimed that the Miz cost the title and said both men lost because of him. And because of this, Miz was very disappointed in his feelings. So he got very angry and started, ranting. He ranted about how long he's been trying to get back to the top of WWE since he hasn't been there since 2011 when he was WWE champion, right? And how he wanted to be the poster child of the company. He showed what he said. What was he? What did he say? He said, yeah, he was talking about respect and emotion, right? And earning the respect of the fans and earning the respect of the superstars who treat him like a joke. Because you're booked like a joke. It's that simple. No one's trying to be disrespectful to this guy. It's just that the way you come off on TV is how I'm gonna look at you, and you look like a fucking idiot all the time, and you're bringing down John Morrison with you. It's that simple, Miz. It's that simple. Even though Miz looked kind of good with this promo, we've always known the Miz is really good on the mic. This shit was garbage. Who cares? Who cares? Miz apologized to Styles multiple times, and he said that both men were robbed because he blew it. Miz tried to offer Styles a role in the next Marine movie, and it led to an argument, right? But then basically Miz realized something while Morrison and Styles were arguing. Miz gave up the notion that since Morrison was the one that cashed in for the Miz, he said that he thinks he should get the contract back since she is really the only one who can cash it in, right? So Miz trying to make up for his mistake and also try to save his ass at the same time. But clearly, the Money in the Bank briefcase is gone. Once it's been used, it's been used. You know, it's too late. It's too late. Sorry, Miz. You know, I hope they don't try to turn this into a full story where like Miz goes get lawyers involved and all this crap. Like I hope that's not where we're going. Like I really hope. I hate this crap, really. So afterwards, we see Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre came out and he started talking. He had him, Keith Lee, and Sheamus were on three different sides of the ring, and they had little notes talking about the nightmare after TLC. Because if you guys remember, Miz gave that little pathetic song and dance last week. So yeah, and then basically they read like little lines off the pieces of paper, and then eventually they just got into the ring and brawled with the and brawled, yeah, they brawled with their opponents for later on, right? Accidentally, right? Styles hit a drop kick on Keith Lee and knocked himself into yeah, what's his name? They knocked him into the Miz, right? So Sheamus, or no, knocked him in the Miz, knocked him in the Sheamus. My bad. And Sheamus, who was in the corner, was angry at Keith Lee. He was like, "What the hell you're doing, right? You're trying to take away my moment." Because Sheamus was getting ready to bro kick. I think it was Morrison. But I was like, really? That's what we're doing now? Is that really what we're doing now here with WWE? Like, come on, man. But anyway, things picked up a little bit more. We would get the match later on, which we'll talk about hopefully here at the end, because it was a bunch of crap. Yeah, but like I said, Miz had a good promo. It's just that I do not care. I do not care. Hate this shit, man. Hate this shit. Look in the chat real quick. What up, JQ James? NBA YouTube. I bet you next week that Sheamus is gonna turn on Drew. That's where I think we're going. That's where I think we're going. But man, there's like, yeah. And the thing about it is, now that Miz is, done with the Money in the Bank situation for now, because he's not getting back the Money in the Bank contract. Don't try to just don't let the super casuals try to convince you of that crap. It's done and done. But I thought they would stop, with the old Sheamus, Drew McIntyre versus Miz Morrison bullshit. But they keep shoving it down your throat every single week, man. Garbage. Legit garbage. Garbage. Anyway, I'm going to look at T-Bar versus Ricochet next, right? We know that Ricochet's been feuding with Retribution for months now. And, Mustafa Ali and the company, they will not leave Ricochet alone until he chooses to join their group. So Ricochet rushed T-Bar right after the bell and tried to get the upper hand away. But uh, T-Bar, a.k.a. Dominic Dijakovic, you could see it looked directly like him tonight. Uh, but anyway, so then I'm trying to read the notes. I can't figure it out. All right, there we go. T-Bar caught Ricochet trying to hit cross body, then hit some good looking knees to the body before throwing him to the mat. He grounded Ricochet for a bit, then sent him over the top rope, right? And then after Ricochet was arguing with Mustafa Ali and other Retribution members on the outside, he got taken out with a clothesline. Then Ali yelled at Ricochet that he belongs with them before the T-Bar, or before T-Bar hit his finisher for the win. So it looked like GPS, right? T-Bar's finisher looked like GTS a little bit, but it was like modified. It was like a modified GTS in the way. But yeah, that was that for that. Yeah, but like I said, I don't know if you guys could tell, I am a little bit tired. I am a little bit tired dealing with this review. So if you guys see me, I'm like a little doozy, man. I've been so tired over the weekend for all the videos I've had to make. So I'm just trying to get through this review, bro. Really. My gosh. Plus it's hot in here. So like the heat's like kind of putting me to sleep a little bit. So forgive me guys for that. I'm trying to stay awake, you know. But anyway, man, like I said, this Ricochet shit is garbage. If I'm Ricochet, I'm trying to get back down to NXT. Really, for real. Get me off of Monday Night Raw. This is terrible. You know, even though the idea of Ricochet being in Retribution kind of, you know, I would say kind of, makes me intrigued a little bit. But I know they would find some way to mess it up. They would, of course, they would find a way to mess it up. All right. But I also heard a report that Ricochet is leaving the company in a couple months. His contract does expire, so it'll be interesting to see how that all happens long term. But Ricochet should leave and go to AEW. You know. Next up, we had the VIP lounge, right? So of course the Hurt Business, they had a big night at TLC. Uh we saw the Hurt Business win the Raw Tag Team Championships just like I predicted, right? They showed a short clip showing the New Day's reaction to losing the tag titles, and they were in good spirits because they said they would just regain the titles like they always do, right? So MVP gave a short promo. Benjamin and Cedric Alexander talked about winning the tag titles, and Alexander cut Benjamin off, but they didn't address it. So it's becoming a common theme now that Cedric Alexander is cutting his teammates off, no matter if it's during a match where he tags himself in early, or if it's now during a promo where he cuts one of his partners off, right? And it's starting to become more and more apparent as Cedric Alexander gains more confidence. He's getting more cocky, and it's getting. I feel like it's gonna get to a point. Not now, of course, because the team's having success, but it may get to a point where the Hurt Business they get fed up with the disrespect, right? And then maybe we'll see if they can tell an intriguing story there. But Lashley spoke next and said that there is not a man alive who can beat him for the U.S. Championship. Sadly, WWE refuses to book any man alive the face Lashley for the United States Championship. I've been saying it just like I talked about Sami Zayn on SmackDown. At least, man, Sami Zayn has some competition. They refuse to have Bobby Lashley face off against anybody. You have a name right there with Matt Riddle. Do the feud. Come on. I don't know what this company is thinking. I don't. But anyway, uh, basically, as they celebrate their title win, right? MVP asked the group to pose for a picture. R-Truth appeared behind them, and he was, running away from Superstars with the 24/7 title. Same old shit. I honestly thought, and I said this on the TLC review, I thought they were gonna have MVP pin, R-Truth for the 24/7 title at some point tonight, just so they could say, all four members of the Hurt Business have gold. Look at us. I'm surprised they didn't do that, but who cares at the end of the day, right? Still, the Hardy Bros, right? Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy, making their official debut tonight as a team. They came out on the stage and they traded words with the Hurt Business, right? Uh, but the segment went down forever and ever. And then afterwards, later on in the night, we would get a tag team match between Riddle, Hardy, and the Hurt Business, all right, which was MVP and Lashley in this case. So Lashley took Riddle down right when the bell rang. He took him to the corner so that he could team in, so he could tag MVP to keep going on with the beating. Hardy eventually got the hot tag and did some double team spots, and then we come back from break, and then we see Hardy was knocked off the top rope and sent into the steel steps. So then we see as Hardy slowly get back into the ring, Lashley and MVP, went outside to punish him. Hardy was finally able to make the hot tag to Riddle, right? And then Riddle went on an Ampage, right? He just went off. And we see Lashley saved MVP from being pinned. And then afterwards, Matt Hardy tagged himself in. But then I think this is like the third straight week now, right? I think this is the third straight week we've seen friggin' Jeff Hardy, being forced to tap out to the Hurt Lock. It's fucking hilarious if you ask me. Absolutely hilarious. Well, that Jeff Hardy gets choked out by the choke lock every single week. Or the full Nelson, man. That thing's hype. Next up, we had Grand Metalik versus Jason Riker, right? So Elias was giving a promo and talking about how much his music saved lives or changed his lives, and how Riker was a prime example of that. So Elias was going to play a song from his album to prove that point. But Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado came to the ring. Oh man, here we have two potential tag teams to put in our Raw Tag Team division, because our division has no teams. Why aren't Lince Dorado and Grand Metalik, even though we know that they're most likely never going to win the tag team titles, why aren't they in the tag team division? You have nobody. You have two teams, the Hurt Business and the New Day, and they've been feuding now for close to 2 months. You have a team right here in the Lucha Bros. Why don't you just, if you want, change their name, but why don't you want the match? Why don't you want them in the tag team division? This is the kind of crap I'm talking about with WWE. This is what I'm talking about. Elias and Jason Riker, I said it last week, they fit as a tag team. Their look, their personalities, they would be a perfect heel tag team. But add at least a little more competition. Because right now, this Elias gimmick is old. We've been there and done that. There's nothing Elias does right now is special. Nothing he does is special. It's nonsense, really. So we got a match between Jason Riker and Metalik. Elias was allowed I don't even understand. And Vince is so out of touch, he doesn't even remember the old rules to his matches. So this is a one-on-one singles match between Elias and Metalik, right? But as the match, at least the first couple minutes of the match are going on, Elias is sitting on the top turnbuckle in the corner, playing his guitar. I'm like, how's that legal? Vince is so out of touch, he's forgetting the most simple things. How is that legal for Elias to be on the top turnbuckle? Shit's garbage. Honestly, garbage. Fucking hell, man. I don't even know what this was. I know Riker hit Grand Metalik for a choke slam for the win, right? That was inspired because Riker got mad because you could see after Metalik kicked Elias off the top turnbuckle, he dropped his guitar, and Lince Dorado was playing it. So Riker saw that, they were disrespecting, his new master, and that's the result. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Put them in the tag team division, call it a day. Both teams. So next up, we had Randy Orton speaking. This was easily, and quite honestly, probably the only good part of this show. So we've all, for the most part, unless you've been living under a rock, we've all already seen what happened at TLC with the Randy Orton burning the Fiend alive. Even though, like I said, that was made of plastic. That was a dummy doll. Why would they burn the actual actor alive? Like, come on. I can't believe that's how many casuals that were actually debating this. Like, absolutely ridiculous stuff. So, Orton came out. Orton cut a really good promo here. This was, like I said, this was the best segment of the night. But Orton came out and said that he has been called a lot of things during his career, like sick and twisted. He said he proved he was all of those things last night when he burned the Fiend alive. Randy Orton spoke about how the smell of burning flesh lingers, and he could still smell it in the ring. The voices in my head were gone after last night, he said. All he hears now is the sound of Wyatt grasping for his last breath. I like this dark shit. I know USA Network, right? They like this shit as well. If only we could get much more of this kind of stuff, this kind of storytelling, this type of investment with the rest of Monday Night Raw. What else do you need me to say? But he was talking about all these things about Wyatt, and it was a really good promo. Randy Orton making himself look like an actual devil that doesn't give a shit about anybody's feelings. So what happened then is the lights dropped. So the lights dropped out of nowhere, and then it was like the Fiend's normal entrance, but I had a feeling it was gonna be Alexa Bliss. Remember, we hadn't seen Alexa Bliss the last couple weeks because I think she was filming a project. But I don't believe it. I'm saying this because you guys know I haven't always been the biggest Alexa Bliss fan. But I was happy to see Alexa Bliss tonight. Really, there was no way that the Fiend was gonna return tonight. We know the Fiend's not really dead. They're just doing this for storyline. But we know the Fiend's not gone. He's gonna come back. Maybe they might save it all the way to the Royal Rumble. Like maybe Randy Orton's like one of the last guys in the Royal Rumble and looks like he's about to win. And then, the Fiend comes out. I could definitely see that being the case. You know. But we'll just have to wait and see on that. But anyway, Alexa Bliss came out when the light came back on. She was sitting there on a swing set. And she was talking about how the Fiend built it for her and how she was calling it Alexa's Playground. Right? So clearly we know this was pre-taped because there was no way they would be able to get an actual swing set put in there during a live edition of Raw that quickly. But Alexa's promo was just as good here. She talked about how Wyatt built the swing set for her and that she wanted Orton to play with her. She speculated a lot about where the Fiend could be, right? How he could be like at the beach, but that would be dangerous because he could have got a sunburn. How he could be uh, at a uh, at a backyard party, because he was getting burnt by or he was eating a nice little barbecue, right? And all these references, of course, were supposed to be Randy Orton burning the Fiend up, right? All that stuff. And I love how Alexa was getting twisted with Randy Orton, and like Randy couldn't really figure it out. So, she said that Wyatt is home now, right? And Alexa, she was being weird here, but I love it. Alexa was like the Fiend's burning flesh. It's like it melted into the ring under the earth. But she said that Wyatt is home now, but if he ever comes back, it'll be like nothing Orton has ever seen before. So usually you would think, that person's dead. But no, he isn't. Clearly, they're setting up for the Fiend to come back. Like I said, if they had done that tonight, it would have, of course, been a mistake because everyone's already talking about it and it's still fresh in people's mind. I do think we will see the Fiend return. I'm gonna predict it right now. If it's not the Royal Rumble, Monday Night Raw, like the go home show for the Royal Rumble, he'll be on the actual show and he'll interfere during the Royal Rumble, or he'll be a surprise appearance and he'll be able to torture Randy Orton throughout the rest of that match. That's my opinion on that. But like I said, Alexa Bliss continues her solid work. I don't understand why they're not building her up. She is owning this character right now, and I have become a big fan of Alexa because of this gimmick. She's doing a great job with the look, the character, the mic work. I just don't know why they're not building her up to potentially face Asuka. I think that would be a perfect feud right there. Perfect feud, right? My boy Anthony's in the chat. All right, my old podcast partner. He said I'd rather watch a fucking soap opera than this shit show. Facts. I'd rather watch General Hospital than this crap. Anthony said Charlotte Flair will make the ratings go down to 500K. Well, bro, you missed my epic Charlotte rant at the beginning of the podcast. And the one from DLC. Celtics fan says, who cares? The Fiend is dead, like JD from NY said. I don't think the Fiend's necessarily dead. He's not. He's not. I think people throw around that term buried too casually. There's a bunch of WWE superstars that are legitimately they are dead on WWE television. The Fiend, he's not there. He's been there. He's been close, but he's not there. He's not buried on WWE television. He's not. All right. But lastly, let's get into the main event so we can get out of here because I'm getting fucking tired. I am so tired from all the videos. I'm probably going to take a break from YouTube until Wednesday. But anyway, we had the Holiday Street Fight. Sheamus, Lee, and McIntyre versus Styles, Miz, and Morrison. They kept teasing a lot of conflict between Sheamus and Lee because of what happened earlier in the night on Miz TV. Plus, Styles was, having conflict with The Miz because he was still angry at The Miz for what happened at TLC, cashing in and ruining his shot at the WWE title. So, they had all these things at ringside, all these cookies and candy canes, So basically, this is supposed to be a normal street fight, but of course, holiday themed. But they treated it like a normal six-man tag team match. It was garbage. It wasn't until the last 5 minutes that they realized, oh wait, we have all these weapons we can use at ringside to, put damage on each other. If I'm in the match, I'm grabbing a candy cane candlestick right away and beating the hell out of the Miz. Why did it take, 10 to 15 minutes into the match until there was 5 minutes left in the show for them to realize, oh, this is a holiday street fight? Like, how dumb is this shit? For real, bro. This is the kind of crap I'm talking about. How dumb these people actually are. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to skip to the second part of the match. Alright, but Sheamus was in control of Styles when we returned from break. Him and McIntyre hit Miz and Morrison with the 10 beats of Bourdon before Lee grabbed both men and ran them into the apron, right? So like I said, they didn't try to start bringing weapons to like the last 5 minutes, which was retarded, right? So McIntyre powerbombed Styles to a table with a bowl of eggnog, which got all over him, so that took Styles out of the match. Sheamus tagged himself in to hit a bro kick, but Lee tagged himself in as well, right? Almost put Morrison through a table, so getting because Almost was going after Morrison from last week or last night. Remember, Morrison tried to hit Almost in the back with a steel chair, and it shattered completely. But then the Morrison ran, so Almost got his payback tonight. All right, and then Lee hit Miz with the spirit bomb for the win. So right after the match, we see, they're about to celebrate, right? You're going to get that, I guess, a good ending to the show, even though the show was absolute garbage. But then, out of nowhere, Sheamus hit Lee with a bro kick, and McIntyre yelled at Sheamus, his best friend, as Raw went off the air, like, what are you doing? I think this is leading to Sheamus, returning heel. Sheamus has been acting like a tweener, of course, these last couple weeks, right? Because of, McIntyre's his best friend. But if the plan still is, I personally want a McIntyre and Styles singles match, right? I kind of want us to still get that at the Royal Rumble, or at least before the Royal Rumble. But I would mainly prefer to see it at the Rumble without commercials. But clearly I think what they're gonna happen, they're probably gonna do Sheamus versus Keith Lee next week on Raw because of what happened in the main event. And then you're going to eventually have Sheamus either turn on McIntyre or demand a title match with McIntyre at the Rumble. That's where I think we are going, right? And I have no problems with it. If they go back to McIntyre and Styles, I'm down for it. If they do McIntyre and Sheamus, I'm down with that as well. But still, man, nothing on this show outside of Alexa Bliss. The Alexa Bliss segment with Randy Orton was great. Outside of that, there was absolutely nothing. And I mean that. There was nothing good on this show outside of one segment. This show was dreadful tonight. And if they get lower than a 1.5, they absolutely deserve it. Absolutely. Because this show is straight garbage. I don't care what anybody says. And if you try to defend this shit, you're part of the problem. Monday Night Raw, they have Vince McMahon going to bed tonight thinking, oh yeah, we're making a difference, right? The ratings are going to go up slowly. Nope. Monday Night Raw is still garbage. And this show was just as bad as last night. So that's about it for tonight's review, guys. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. As always, I'm going to get out of here. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy, yo. Check out the TLC review if you guys haven't.